Hello everyone, thank you for joining this session. My name is Sargam Tiwari and I am the marketing head at Tech Jobs Fair. Today we have our special guest speaker, Jesse Sweed. He is a top class English fluency coach from US and living in Spain. He is founder and also the head trainer of the Eagle Method. Today we will be talking about three specific things that can help job seekers in interview. So let's welcome Jesse. Hi, Jesse. How are you doing?
Hey, Sargam, thank you for having me. And thank you for inviting me. The Tech Job Fair, I think it's a terrific idea. So I'm really happy to be a part of this.
Yeah, we are pleased to having you today. So, Jesse, before moving forward to our topic, would you like to tell us about yourself, your working experience, and how you are helping young professionals?
Okay. Yeah. A little bit about me and my work experience. As you said, I'm originally from the United States and I started teaching English in South Korea. And I taught there for maybe about 7 years. And I taught from children to adults and professionals. And then I came here to Spain and started teaching here. And then I started teaching online. And online, it's better suited for, professionals and people who don't have much time. They don't have time to travel from their home to the academy, right? And then spend an hour and a half in a traditional English lesson and then travel back and then have their family things and their job. It takes a lot of time and it's not as efficient. I noticed that it's not very efficient. People weren't improving that quickly. Whereas online, when it's just us, when you're at your home, you can have your kids here, while you're learning. Sometimes it's a little complicated, but you work it out. And I noticed that I taking English lessons and creating like a systematic way to to learn how to learn the language. And that's different, right? It's not just like practicing grammar or taking exams. Excuse me. Or you know, meaningless practice, but really if you have a system to take control of the language, then you're in control and you have the power. And that's what I love about doing this. That's how I've helped entrepreneurs and business owners really feel that next level of control. And I don't know if you know what it's like. A lot of my clients and students, it's been described as like English is this little stone in your shoe for many people. And they go around and they live their lives with this stone in their shoe. And they don't really realize that it's causing problems until they take the stone out. And then they realize this is what I could have been experiencing my entire life, you know. And that was such a beautiful. Actually, a client came up with that analogy about how she feels, and it's so perfect.
Uh, so you are giving one-to-one classes virtually?
I give one-to-one training. I give one-to-one classes. I give group lessons. That's actually kind of a misconception that a lot of people have. They ask for one-on-one. And in my experience, one-on-one classes are not actually better. In fact, group lessons, well structured, are better than one-on-one because you get to learn from each other, right? Um, you get to listen to how other people speak. You get to see their mistakes and see it in yourself. You get extra practice. You get to listen to how other people speak, their expressions. Where if it's just one on one, you just get my form of speaking. You get my way of speaking. You get how I say things. And then if somebody else says something a little different, it could be confusing, right? So group lessons are
Right.
much more superior.
All right. So group lessons basically that you are giving, right?
Well, I do one-on-one coaching as well.
Yeah, great, great. So, as you know, like most of our viewers are job seekers, right? Who are looking for job. So, as we have decided our today's topic, that we will talk on what are the key aspects that can help job seekers in an interview. So, so what are those three things that you are going to talk about that can help job seekers in an interview?
Yes, thank you for asking. That's so power. This is so powerful because I've come up with these based on helping people and seeing where they are in the process. And so, if your listeners, if you have a pen, have a paper, take notes, listen to this again, because the principles that I'm going to talk about, I do with my clients, right? With people who pay me money. So take notes, watch it again, and really absorb these principles. And actually, I'm going to give three things to keep in mind. Only one of them, actually. The third one will be a powerful tip for the job interview. The other two are like before, which is super important, right? So I'm going to give two tips and then one very powerful job interview mindset and trick that will help you take control. So the first thing that people don't even think about is your CV. That's number one, your CV. You wouldn't believe, Sargam, the types of CVs that I've seen people like give to employers to hire them, like spelling mistakes, like not capitalizing the titles,
Yes,
like not having like sentences that make sense, or just putting a word, like focused, or I, you know, virtual assistant, or whatever, right? But that doesn't if I'm an employer and I see your CV and it has spelling mistakes or it's not capitalized, that's your first impression, right? And that CV is going in
right,
the trash, right or wrong?
right, right, correct,
Yeah. So the first thing, I mean, make sure your CV represents you. That's what it does. Your CV represents you. So a lot of people have like beautiful CVs. They're very pleasing to the eye. They look beautiful, but they're full of mistakes or they're weak. So words like I'm a hard worker, um, I'm goal oriented, I I'm focused. Like, get those things off. Those things are not serving you because everybody is goal oriented. Everybody is goal driven. Everybody is a hard worker, right? So, what
yes. even even
action word?
even hobbies are also same that people are copying from from their colleagues CV and from anyone's CV, friend's CV, so they copy. I mean, I don't know how.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? And there's, like you said, there's no way to stand out. Like there's nothing, oh, hardworking and hardworking. This person is goal driven, goal driven. Okay, it's the same. But so stand out, right? So how do we stand out? There's an interesting article in Forbes. I encourage you to go look at it. I don't have the link. It's a Forbes article. Just type Forbes top words to use on a CV, right? And their words like I've created, and then say what you've created. I've led, say what you've led. I've developed, explain what you've developed, right? So these like rather than saying I'm goal oriented, what goals have you achieved? Put that on your CV. So that's
Correct,
number one.
correct.
Yeah. Because if you don't have a good CV, you're not going to get that interview. So it'll be useless anyway. So that's number one. Number two is actually in the job search and your mindset. So in the job search, a lot of people tell me, "Oh, I'm looking for a job. I'd like to get a job doing graphic design." And I say, "Oh, good. How many jobs have you applied for?" Uh, like Oh yeah, I'm looking for a job in graphic design, but nobody will hire me. How many have you applied for? Two. T- Two. You know, like that's
Yeah,
nothing, right? And of course, when you're not used to this, and I'm saying this to make people aware of what it really is, right? And I know when you do your CV, you need a job, you want a job, you send a CV and you feel that it's good, and you apply for a job, you think you're powerful and you think you have a lot to offer, and you probably do. And then you get no, and then you try again, and then you get no. Um, it can be really disheartening, right? But
right.
I'm here to tell you to understand it's the same thing in sales. I'm sure you know, like most people are gonna be a no. Like when you're messaging people, when you're sending emails, most people are going to be a no. Why? Because like they have their lives, they have their career, they're looking at a bunch of other candidates. Most, I mean, that's the numbers. Most are going to be no. So rather just a little switch. Well, for one, go for more opportunities, like 10 a day. Apply for 10 a day. It's really easy on LinkedIn. Go to the jobs, search the job that you want, and just start sending CVs. They made the process super easy, right?
You're
Um,
right.
Sites like Glassdoor or InfoJobs, things like that. They're really great places. Send like 10 a day. Maybe out of 10 a day, maybe you'll get one response that says, okay, you're invited to the next step. Rather than looking at those 9 no's, let's say, okay, those no's were supposed to happen. It's like a mindset shift, right? Those no's, I expected those. I understand that's part of the game. Here's the yes. Okay, that's a win. Let's follow that. But still apply for 10 a day, because then you have the interview process. Does that make sense? So it's kind of a numbers game.
All right.
So, and so that's where like create opportunities for yourself. I guess that's tip number 2. Sum it up. Create opportunities for yourself, right?
Right.
Nobody's gonna
So you should
come.
not only, depend on one or two jobs that you have applied and waiting for the response. You at least you have to try more and more. The more you can do on daily basis, set the target, right? So that's how. Yes.
Yeah,
Good.
and then if you get like this person says yes, this person says yes, you pass, then you're faced with an option. You have options now, right? And that feels good. That feels powerful, right? Now, what am I going to do? But now you're faced, that's a good problem to have. So create opportunities for yourself. Um, and number 3 is for the interview itself. And it's kind of a mindset issue of my, so when you're applying for these jobs, and I want you guys, the listeners, to ask themselves, right? When you're applying for these jobs, are you expecting to get them? Are you visualizing yourself working for this company? Are you are you expecting an a yes, right? Are you excited for the yes? Because, or are you applying with the mindset of, okay, here we go, this is probably not going to work out well, I'm probably not going to get this job, and you go into an interview with that energy, that's it's going to be a no. If you go in with that energy, it's just probably going to be another no. Yes, it probably will be, right? But enter each interview with as an opportunity to demonstrate your value, to show your character, right? To show your ability. And a lot of people get hung up. I can't do a job interview because my English. What if I make a mistake? And I, people do not care about grammatical mistakes as much as you think they do. They care if you can perform for them. They care if you can help their company grow. and and a lot of companies will provide English training, right? So don't let the mistakes stop you. So my biggest powerful tip is coming right now. My biggest powerful tip, and this has helped me get jobs that I wasn't supposed to get. This has helped me. I applied for a job and they were looking for somebody not my profile. They were looking for a British speaker. I'm American. They were looking for a British speaker. They were looking for, certain things that I did not fit. But I went in with this mentality. Go into your job interview with the mentality that you have it and that all you're doing is having a business meeting. You're having a business meeting with these people. So you're finding out what they expect from you. You're sharing with them your ideas about what you can do for them. And with that mindset, you go in asking questions. Because why? Because these are your coworkers. These are people that are managing you. So you're going in with that. So you're asking better questions. You're giving better responses. You're giving insight. So if you go into a job interview, I've done this more than once. Go into a job interview like you have it, like this is your position. So now you're just asking how you can do the best job possible. And that one simple trick is super powerful for your mindset, for your energy, for how you show up, for how they see you. And if you do that, that will help you a ton in a job interview. Does that make sense? Did I get frozen here?
Yeah. So as you have mentioned, in the third point, like basically, job seekers have fear and have fear of speaking English, and they don't know like how they can overcome from it. So how can any job seekers or anyone face the fear of speaking English?
Face the fear of speaking English.
Yeah.
That's a good question because there is fear tied to it, right? And that's one of the reasons that I created the Eagle Method because I've noticed that in traditional classrooms, English is kind of something that like beats you down, right? Failed exam, competition with others, people correcting your mistakes all the time, saying that you'll never get a job if you don't speak English. It's just power down. And it's not like that, right? So if you look at English as a tool to communicate your skills, right? So first, you have to know that you have skills, right? If you're applying for a job like a graphic designer or a funnel builder or something like that, like, do you have these skills, right? Have you done
Right.
work in this area? Because if you didn't, your English doesn't matter because you don't know
Yeah.
what you're doing, right?
And if you
So,
have done those things, that definitely you will have a lot of things to speak up. Right.
totally,
So
totally. And if you haven't, then English, having perfect English grammar is not going to be the thing that is the magic pill, right? No, your skills are the magic pill. The English is just a way to communicate that. So, but a lot of
correct.
people use that as like an excuse. I think, oh, my English isn't perfect. What if I make a mistake? I've made mistakes in this interview for sure, right? Perfect English doesn't matter. What
Yes.
matters first are your skills. What value can you bring to the company? And then maybe work on how to demonstrate that value, how to communicate it. That's what English does. English doesn't like give you a guarantee. And I think a lot of people, especially as they prepare for like IELTS or these exams, they think that is going to be the magic formula. That's going to be the answer, but it's not, right? You need
Correct.
skills. You need the mindset. You need to create these opportunities. And then English is like the path to help you get there. So I think realizing that, becoming aware of that, just becoming aware of that. And like I said, go back and listen to this again, because to really understand that and to have awareness that there's not as much pressure on your English as you think. Just becoming aware of that, I think, will relieve and help you relax a little bit.
So, moving forward, there are so many mediums that can, help in fluency. But I just want to know from your side to our viewers, like, because, so what are the top mediums that you can recommend to our viewers, our job seekers, that can help them in English communication?
Hmm. Interesting. Good question. Um, some mediums or some tools, right? I mean, I always recommend authentic material to improve your English by using YouTube. I mean, all of these resources that we have every day, right? So YouTube, Facebook groups, things like that, right? You use YouTube podcasts to, what I call in my method, hunt expressions and hunt vocabulary and hunt the grammar and hunt things that you need, rather than just study present perfect, past perfect, present continuous, future tense, right? That doesn't make it real. But if you use material that you love and then hunt the language with it and know exactly what you're hunting for, know what teach 4 pillars of fluency: confidence and clarity, vocabulary and expressions, pronunciation and intonation, and grammar and style. If you know those and you know what you need to work on, then you can hunt these in natural speaking videos and content, and then use Facebook groups to connect with people, and to really use the Facebook groups to connect with people. Maybe find a good speaking partner that is around your level, or approach an English teacher and say, "Hey, I'm a funnel builder. I can build a funnel for you to bring people to your profile or to your website or whatever, and in exchange, why don't you teach me English?" Right? So a lot of people say, like, I can't find a teacher because I don't have money, I don't know native speakers. Dude, you have the internet. Like, you have access to everybody. Right? So and having no money, that's an excuse. Not knowing native speakers, that's an excuse. So one of the biggest things I say is get those excuses out of the way and start looking at for solutions.
Right. So as we are living in 21st century and we have big access of internet, and you can, reach out to anyone, any person over the planet, around the world. So that is a big thing that we have in today and into 21st century. So just we have to reach out to people and communicate with them, and we can also tell them, oh yes, you know Spanish, why don't you just teach me Spanish, right? So that is a thing that we have to go through, right?
Yeah.
So
And
as you have mentioned, that podcast, right? That podcast can also help us in learning English. So would you like to name some podcast here?
Well, that's interesting because for any of my things, and I do recognize the irony of this, I don't recommend like English. I mean, if you want, there are English learning podcasts by like BBC. I have one, uh, and and things. But to really, like, what I call in my system, layer your learning, look for podcasts that interest you. Right? If you're a business startup owner, like, listen to business startup podcasts. Right? There are some like They Made That, or there are a bunch of like entrepreneur podcasts, business startup podcasts, marketing podcasts, tech podcasts. Right? So like any sort of anything that interests, comic podcasts, movie podcasts, song podcasts, podcasts about parenting, podcasts about, right? Find anything that interests you and hunt your language from there. That's what I recommend. I obviously recommend my podcast too, called More Than English. But one more thing about the finding an English speaking partner or a teacher, it's kind of the same thing as point number 2 I said with finding a job. Imagine you ask a teacher or 2 teachers if they want to exchange, and they say no. Expect that, right? So it's the same thing. It's like, just send it out there. Get used to hearing no so much. I love it with an entrepreneur, David Meltzer. He says, imagine that you are only 25 no's from getting what you want, from living the life of your dreams. You're 25 no's away. How excited would you be to get that first no, right? And then you're only 24 more. And then the second no, you're 23 more, right? So the thing is, we don't know how many no's we are away, but you've got to put it out there. They're coming, and to not get discouraged.
Correct. So, would you like to name some job profiles, that everyone can, just by only improving their English fluency? I mean, everyone can get, and or any job profile that usually helps job seekers or in their initial stage of career. So, what are some job profiles that, from your side, if you can name some any job profile?
Hmm. That's interesting, because English is interesting because, like, I mean, improved English will help almost any area, right? In marketing, in copywriting, which, by the way, if you do choose the copywriting path, it's so important. That's where it really is important to have your grammar on point, to have your voice when you write to sound like a normal person, things like that. I mean, really anything. Sales, if that's your strength, it depends on where your strengths are. Remember, like I said, like, English is only a tool, right? So improved English will help anywhere, in sales, in marketing, in regular administrative work. It can, if it's on an international team, development, web development. But it's important to realize that it is only a tool, and it's not the most important thing that you need, right? So
Right.
I'd say that's my answer. I don't really know any specific jobs that are more important than, others, right?
Okay. Okay. So I would like to add here, if from to my viewers, like if you guys have any question regarding English fluency, we have Jesse, so you can directly put in the comment so that we try to give answer, right? So meanwhile, Jesse, anything that you would like to add from your side for English communication, for better practicing, for anything that you would like to add here?
Yeah, good question. So I guess, like, the final thing is you're probably a lot better and a lot closer to your English fluency goals than you realize. That's something that I found most people, they're a lot better than they think they are. And once you realize that, that will instantly improve your confidence and instantly improve your fluency, because when you have greater confidence, then things will come out of your mouth easier, right? Because you don't have that fear, right? So understanding where you are, not comparing yourself to, oh, that person is so good, because, for one, maybe you're better than that person, but you don't feel it, right? So
Right.
that's one big thing. Compete with yourself, get better. Consistency, same with everything else. Consistency helps. Immerse yourself in English, but with intention, not just watching Netflix all day, and take actual steps towards your goals.
Yes, I mean, Netflix is booming, not only in India. I mean, I'm from India, and so Netflix is booming not only in India, and people are using it as a tool so that they can learn. Oh yeah, that's movie, that's web series is coming. So yeah, we can we can learn from, and we can learn English from this. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so pretty
yeah,
good.
and it doesn't really work that that way, right? So like that's what I think that can be like a dangerous line, right? So that's I get that all the time too. I ask people, "Well, what do you do to improve your English?" "Oh, I watch Netflix," and I'm like, "Well, that's not enough. You got to watch it with intention, right? If you're using
Yeah.
that, and to have the right like steps and use the right steps, things like that." Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
get
so
that
it
all.
is not about what the things that definitely you are hearing, because while watching Netflix you're just hearing those words, right? But it is about how can you speak up, right? So the more you speak up, the more confident you become, and then your hesitation will it will be vanished, right? So yeah.
Yeah, it's more than that. It's also listening with intention. So if you're just sitting back passively, just watching the story, being entertained, you're not really picking up any language, right? It's going in. You're being entertained. You're not even thinking because you're watching TV. But it's just like it passes by. But if you're listening with intention to learn something, that's what the eagle method is, right? You're flying like an eagle watching Netflix, and then you see something like a bird or a snake or a fish. That's your language. Then you listen and you're like, oh, I like that expression, let me take that, right? So there are definitely ways, but yeah, it's more than just watching and listening. You have to get out there and actually apply things to your life.
Correct. So, great, Jesse. Unfortunately, we are running out of time here. So, we have to end this session here. And thank you so much for joining this session and helping our viewers in understanding the importance of English fluency. And I hope this will help everyone, and especially our job seekers, also the professionals, right? Also the founders, those are CEOs, entrepreneurs, right? So so these that's all. I mean, that's all for today from our side. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. And thank you so much, Jesse. You too. And that is the end of the session here. See you all in our next session. So, yeah, till then, be happy and keep smiling. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.